Hello everyone, this is Diane, and it is time to show you the 3 Traveler's Notebook style journals that I made with a farm theme, and they are different and fun, different from each other. They all have the same elements within, but the covers are a lot different. I'm going to start with this one that doesn't have its tie on it. For the tie, I simply took some strips of fabric, stitched them together to make them a little bit longer, and then just stitched all around the edge. They will fray, but the fraying will stop at the stitching, and so that will just give it a nice rustic look. And any of the long loose threads, just pull them off and they'll be fine. So that just ties around this, and let me give you the exact measurements. They're all the same. It's 4 1/4 wide by 8 1/4 tall. And I did do a video where I decorated the covers, so you probably saw that. This is corrugated cardstock, or crimped. I have a paper crimper. This was cut from a children's little Whitman book or something like that, and a digital flash card. And I had this little wooden barn element, and I'm thinking I may have gotten that in a Happy Mail. I had 2 of them. I think I got them in a Happy Mail quite a long time ago. But the cardstock is this brown. I used cardstock from an Authentique set. I have the cover of it. It's called Homestead. So that's what all the pages came from on the covers, and I think there's 1 or 2 inside. So let's go in. I used some vintage crochet on the edges of each one and a piece of fabric on the inside. And of course I stamped this. I didn't do a book plate. This book belongs to, but you could write that right here if you wanted to. There are 3 digital pages in each journal, and they are from a kit called Barnyard Blowout by Raspberry Road. Now, I looked them up yesterday, and they do have a website, but the website store is closed. I think you can go look at their archives or something, but you can't look at the shop. It's not closed for good. This message was put up a month ago that they were temporarily closed and that they would reopen. But I think their Etsy store is still open, where you could get the paper, but they have a lot more things on the website. But they have this paper on Etsy, so I will link the Etsy store. I stenciled here, and then to fill in the space, I tried stamping journaling lines, but they smeared, so I used this vintage ledger and then stamped the bracket. The other books have stamped lines because it didn't smear on those. I don't know why it smeared on this. This is one of the Authentique papers and a piece of fabric with John Deere tractors. Very cool. And this lovely lady came from an old Ward's catalog, Montgomery Ward's. Excuse me. And she's sitting on a stool, so I had to go in. I did not do these little side ones, but I went in and cut out all those little spaces. Stamped a background stamp of chicken wire and this digital that I've had in my stash for a long time. I did sew and glue this fabric to a piece of craft cardstock, so it's a little sturdier. This came out of a really fun little notebook. I think, no, that's not it. Here it is. The Farmer's Yearbook from the National Bank and Trust Company of Norwich, New York. So it's got information and tables and record-keeping pages. So that's what this is. Farm expenditures for the month of blank. Farm receipts for the month of. So I just folded that up and tucked it in there. I used a thin twine to put in the tops of the tags, and I did the tags on video also. Here, this is from a larger farm ledger book, and I added a vintage milk bottle cap. There's some writing. This is dated 1950. A children's music book had some I think this is Old MacDonald Had a Farm. I love the illustration, and I added these little fabric flags there. This was given to me in a Happy Mail. I don't know what kind of paper this is. It was a very big sheet, and it had this border all around it. But I cut it into pages, and I love it. And it's nice and sturdy. You can write on that, no problem. This is from a children's reader, A Day on the Farm. And I made a fabric pocket here with this weather vane fabric. This is part of the Barnyard Blowout digital. A really cute calico print. And I just put a blank little tag inside. You can write and add your own decorations. I tied a little tiny strip of fabric. It has some eggs on it, but you probably can't tell that because the strip is so little. More stenciling, and this is a page from an old almanac book. And there's a little note paper with a cow and a kitten. A different farmer's ledger book. I got this at a flea market with a collection of papers, and there were several of these. And it was for the National Stockman and Farmer, which was a magazine. And this is telling you why you should subscribe to it, why you should take. And then it has this pretty green printed ad on the back. I'm going to put that one facing out. And then I do have a collection of farm photographs. So this is a cow in the pasture. I put 2 photographs in each journal. That's part of the Barnyard Blowout collection, and I stamped a cow here, and this came from a children's book. Clinkety clank, went the big tractor. I think I put 13 folded pages in. 1, 2, 3, 14 folded pages. So 14 times 4 are what you get front and back. Another children's reader page, coffee dyed paper, and this is from the Authentique paper. This is from a game. I picked it up at a flea market. It was either a game or just something educational, but there were 2 of each card, and it was all about different weights and measures. But I had a few that would work for the farm theme. And there are butterflies on the back of that page. I left the ties long and put some beads on the ends that hang out. They won't be in your way. You can just move them up there or down here, whatever works for while you're writing. And there's another bottle cap. That one's for chocolate milk. Here I took 2 illustrations from different children's books, and it looks like I have to glue that in a little better. This one is older. This one's from the 30s. And this one is probably from the 50s or even older. There's just a plain craft tag that you can also write on or decorate somehow. And there's a playing card. And I put 1 little scripture card in each journal, and this has a verse on each side. So you get 2 scripture verses. I stamped up here with a blue ribbon and a chicken. Those are both from a Tim Holtz set called On the Farm. And this is the fabric measuring tape that was made for measuring livestock. It talks about calving and feed 1 heaping gallon, 3 pounds daily of Purina dry and fresh. And there's more text that I cut off, so it has instructions on it. So it was probably a free tape from Purina. So another almanac page. And here is a vintage receipt from Boyertown, Pennsylvania, which is where they used to make Mallow cups. I don't know if they still do. Remember Boyer Candies that used to own Mallow Cup? And I think they own Necco wafers too. I'm not sure. but it's dated in the 1940s, and it's a receipt for a dealer in butter, eggs, and poultry. It even has the items listed out, and you would just write down how many dozen or how many pounds and check it off. You didn't even have to write out what they were buying. Happy days at the farm. Here's another photograph, and there's a barn in the background, but this man is in his strawberry field, and he's holding up a strawberry that had 2 or 3 that grew together. So somebody took a picture of it. This apple paper is Authentique, and it has this wood pattern on the other side. Here I made a little flip-up corner pocket, and then I added a pocket behind it, so you have 2 pockets there. We did this tag on a video. That's another background stamp. This, I want you to know, is an antique image. It came out of an old scrapbook, and I love it. And this was from a More Modern magazine. And this was cut from one of those almanac pages, and it talks about the price of corn per bushel and the cost of 100 pounds of milk. And I don't know what the gauge is for. I don't know what all that means, but you can write on the back. And then on the back is a library pocket that I decorated, and we have a definition for silo, and I stamped, "Enjoy the simple moments." So this tie matches the fabric that I used on the inside. And then we just tie this in a knot. And such a cute journal. I love that one with the children's illustration. The next one has a stamped image on the front. I stamped that with waterproof ink. Boy, I pulled that tight. And then I colored it, painted it with probably watercolor markers. I didn't do that recently. This was in my stash. So I will either use my ink pads to paint with, they're watercolor ink pads, or I scribble my watercolor markers onto something plastic and non-absorbent and take a water brush and paint. So that was done like that somehow. We've got 2 colors of burlap behind it and some buttons that I sewed on or glued on, and these 2 buttons have vintage thread in them. And just a little embellishment up here. It says the early bird gets the worm. And the paper looks like denim. And I use this ticking fabric on the inside. That is fabric. One of the Raspberry Road pages looks like denim, and it has little collage strip on the side. So this is a stamped journaling spot. This is one of the Raspberry Road, is it? No, this is one of these, Authentique. Piece of fabric and a craft cardstock, and I stamped and embossed. I think I used Martha Stewart embossing ink that I got at that craft. No, I don't know. Somebody gave it to me in a Happy Mail. It was a whole Martha Stewart little kit. I don't think it was very juicy because not a lot of the black ink stuck. It's all colored. It colored it all, but it doesn't feel like a real embossed strip, but it is. A lot of the embossing powder blew off. This is from that little notebook I showed you, Young Stock Birth Record. Well, I don't think that's what that is. It says 56.5 miles to Thruway, 12710. I wonder if that's a zip code. But regardless, you can write on it. And here is the tag I made with another lady from the Ward's catalog. A digital, and a punch out. I did that on camera. So we have the same elements. Another song. This is a folk song from England. I don't know the title of it till I turn the page. Look at this one, Little Ducklings, so cute. This is from that almanac. Piece of fabric with a plain tag and a piece of that John Deere fabric. This is the digital. This photograph has a bunch of chickens. Look at all those chickens. And this is the same advertisement thing that was in the other book. This is the same digital with the calico. You must come to see our farm you must come to our farm sometime and see us. That's what that says. And then this is from the Golden Book, Farmer Brown's Animals. And we have this little flash card. It's vintage, but I don't know how old. This is the authentic paper. And we have blue and red beads on this. Two little illustrations again. This is another antique one. And this is from a children's book from the 30s. This was from a farm calendar. It says farm area, totaling crops, woodland, so you write down how many acres are of each of these types of land. Interesting. Another piece of that measuring tape. I had this one plastic paper clip, which is pretty cool, so I finally used it. From that Boyertown, Pennsylvania supplier. So we had Boyertown with the Mallow cups and Hershey with all the Hershey stuff in Pennsylvania. The Little Farmer is the name of that English song. Here is a cute little photograph of a horse and 3 children riding on it. I love that picture. And again, the pocket, corner pocket, you can write on that. And tag, this is a vintage gift, or not a gift tag, but a gummed sticker and a vintage milk ticket. Oh, this is a tuck spot. That's open there. And old ad for canning jars. My signature is on the back of these library cards. And this one has chicken wire on it. And lastly, we have this one that has, you know, I love milk bottle caps. And I also love the look of old milk bottles. We didn't use these when I was a kid, but we did have metal milk cans that we would, when we didn't have cows anymore, we would take the milk cans up to the neighboring farm and they would fill our milk can and we would give them money. Then we had milk for the week, or however many days it lasted. But anyway, I do love the look of old milk jars. So I love this advertisement, and this came from an old Ward's catalog, the 1930s, or maybe it was 20s. It was very old. But you could get a dozen milk bottles for 89 cents and 1,000 of the caps for 39 cents. Wow. And so here is a milk bottle cap. And I embossed this orange cardstock behind it and added some orange rickrack because it needed something else. And we have cow fabric on the inside and cow fabric for the tie. Raspberry Road Digital. I love this tag. So we have the John Deere fabric here, and so we have a man here on his tractor, and there's a vintage milk ticket there. And we have a page from that little farm ledger. Milk bottle cap, another song with some fabric, almanac page, I am going to show you the extras that will come with these. We have the same, told you there were several. I still have a couple left of these for the Farmer's Magazine. Just poke that paperclip right through there. But this is two young men sitting on the farm. There's a house, I think that's the house, maybe, and an outbuilding. That might be the barn. And this old car, and they have three little children sitting there with them. It's a cute picture. Away we go to the farm. And is this the same? I don't think it's the same card, but this one is for 640 acre farm, 1 square mile. And you can write on it. And this one has green and little wooden beads. And the bottle cap on this side is for orange drink. This is another antique piece. It's an old German scrap in a 1930s book illustration. They all have the same greeting or post. What kind of card is it? Playing card. And there's a scripture card in each one. I Like to Live on the Farm is the name of that song. I finally remembered to leave this long so I could fold it in. I didn't do it on the other ones. This one says heifers 4 months old to whatever. I don't know what it said after that. I think this should have, oh no, there's a photograph there. Did we already have a photograph in here? I'll have to make sure that there are 2 photographs in here. Anyway, there's that receipt. And this is a lady. So I think this is the same farm that had the man holding up the photograph. And she's standing out in the garden. Looks like it's holding up the strawberry, not the photograph. I think this is a strawberry field, and it's 1961, and there's a gentleman back there in the background, photobomb. This is a fun tag with pictures of chickens, and this was cut out of, I think it might have been a Martha Stewart magazine, an old one, and it was a craft project, but it's cute, little chick. And we have a flower seed advertisement there. So let me show you what comes with all of these journals. You get a pack of stuff, and this is what's in those packs. Some scraps of the paper as usual. A couple of the almanac pages. Some leftover digitals. This was cut from a book. This is a little scrap from Graphic 45, and it has The Early Bird Gets the Worm, and the same piece is in all of the kits. Some more. Yeah, I think that's a digital. And then we have some cut-aparts from the Authentique kit. From a book. A couple of extra milk bottle caps. A little piece of pig fabric, so cute. And a wired ribbon piece, looks like a bandana. And this is a burlap wired ribbon piece with a plaid, and pieces from an old tablecloth with bread in a bowl that's rising. You put the cloth over the bread. My bread, if it raises that much, you've left it too long. It's just a nice illustration though. You get a tomato seed packet and some play money dime roll and a little craft tag with a twine tie. So they all get the same stuff. There will be differences in the scraps of paper and in the almanac pages, of course, but everybody gets the same stuff. The images on this are different too, on that little tablecloth fabric. So you get one journal with a tie and a packet of goodies, and inside the journal are several vintage or antique items. And it's a fun little journal to write in. It doesn't take a lot of commitment to start writing in one of these because it's small. So I hope that you love these. I love the farm theme, and I will return to the farm theme making larger journals. I have some nice covers to make larger journals and lots of fabrics I can use to make fabric covered journals. I think the farm theme will be a continuing one, not one that I will give up doing, because I like it a lot. So anyway, I will see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, these are in my shop right now, and you can follow the link below and pick one up if you'd like. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.